at 6:45. Many of you may be preparing to do some grilling for this Memorial Day holiday, and we are helping you with the finishing touches and maybe some new ideas you hadn't thought about.
That's right. I've been looking forward to this segment all morning long. This morning, joining us is Chef Marci. Thank you for being in studio with us and to show us how to perfect the perfect. What are we making again?
Well, today it's National Burger Day, which is very ironic because we are going to make burgers, and we are going to do a new technique, which we are going to use this challenge butter for. We're going to make butter burgers.
Okay, so I have the little cube of butter, which it comes in cubes, and
we're not using all of it, unfortunately.
Well, we're going to use it on other things, which is the good part. But the nice thing is it's very convenient. Challenge Butter is a family farm. They've been 100 years. It's the butter with the red elk. I actually bought this in Meijer.
So I thought it was interesting. You kept these in the freezer for a reason.
I did, because we are going to grate this butter cube, and obviously we're not going to use the same thing. And you can use a grater like this, which is more fine, which is what I like to use, not only for butter, but for garlic and nutmeg.
It'll also help you use less than just cutting a chunk of it off.
Can you imagine?
Well, if I was hosting, it'd be different.
But if you have a box grater, you can obviously use that.
I want to see how it works. Is this one still frozen?
Yeah, so it's still frozen.
Like Parmesan cheese.
And we are just going to grate
gosh.
it right in there. It's amazing, right?
Okay.
And we will take that off.
So what does this do to the meat?
Well, this is just going to add so much flavor and moisture to the meat. And I know that everybody doesn't, everybody likes a very flavorful burger. We just added a little salt and pepper into it. And obviously, at this point, we don't have a barbecue available to us. So we are going to cook these in a cast iron skillet.
Okay.
And, if you use like a ground sirloin, which has less fat, this really makes it very flavorful. And they're so convenient, these cubes. I even use the cubes on these grilled potatoes and peppers and corn on the cob.
Same technique?
I actually took the cube and just rubbed it right on there.
Oh, okay.
So we've got our cast iron, and we're just gonna smash these burgers down.
So do you do anything else? Like I've seen some people put like an ice cube in it.
Right, that adds moisture to it as well. So you can do that if you're watching yourself.
And would you do that on the grill outside or either one?
Either one.
But with this technique with the butter, maybe you don't need it?
No, you wouldn't need it for this application, but if you're doing it on the grill, yes. And actually, I love cooking on a cast iron skillet because I feel like it gives you that nice crust on the bottom.
Right.
So I'm going to turn up the fire a little. I mean, in the magic of TV, we're not going to have as much time as we like, but you'll see. I feel like the technique is don't move your burger until you know you have a really good crust on it, and then flip it then.
Okay.
Right.
And I see some of that butter just kind of like seeping out.
And then you can baste it as well. I even like to cook steaks in the cast iron.
Yeah.
And then put these little cubes of butter in there.
Okay.
And
that sounds so good.
Baste the steak with a sprig of rosemary. I love these. I mean, listen, we don't always use a whole stick of butter.
No,
no,
as we should not.
Sorry, I'm getting
as
the
far
memo.
as seasoning too, like do you get creative or just the salt and pepper is enough?
I feel like if you buy a good quality meat and you have a good quality butter, I do a little bit of salt and pepper. I like to use kosher salt. It has a coarser grain to it so you can see it. Okay. And then I like to grind my pepper.
And we're running out of time, but you brought your additional veggies, and I also noticed pineapples. Did you put those directly on the grill?
I did. I cut the pineapple, the top, peeled it, cut it into rounds, and put it right on the grill.
And you get a nice char, right?
Yeah.
Very flavorful.
Absolutely. Let me get you a fork.
And how do we find you? Because you do some specialty cooking for families, meal prep.
I am. You can find me on Instagram at Marci's Kitchen 2020. I cook privately for families. I do a ton of special events. And I would love to help anybody in the area. How good is that? Wait, imagine it with a little vanilla ice cream and
so good.
grilled pound cake.
Yeah, the chard. It's
It
right
has
there.
that chard flavor.
That's a great idea.
It's juicy. Even if you have a pineapple that's not totally ripe at that time,
Yeah,
right
it
here.
really brings out
What
the
an awesome
juices.
idea.
I know.
And an easier way to like infuse fruit into the meal.
Yeah,
Right.
and in a drink or with a little tahini on there for a little
A
margarita.
little lime. Okay.
right.
Don't get us going now, Chef.
Thank you, Chef Marci.
Thank you.
And